Today I'm going to show you how to assemble the candy dispenser. Remember, each one of you are going to do your own candy dispenser. I have the pieces open right now. I still have them open from yesterday actually. I have my base. It's a 5x5, 3/4 thick. I have my top. It's a 4x4, 3/4 thick with a hole in the middle. I have my spacer, which says it's part 3. I thought I saved it as spacer. I might need to go back and correct that. I have my slider with the notch and the 2 holes in it for the pegs. And I have my slider pegs. So let's see if I can get all these pieces together. I'm going to go New, and it's going to be an assembly, so it's a standard IAM. And I'm going to go Create. Now I'm going to place my parts. I'm going to go up here in the left to the place icon. And I'm going to look in my folder for my parts. Here's my base. So I'll place one of those, and I'll zoom out a little bit. Be sure to hit the escape key so they're not stuck together. Now I'll look for my top. Escape. Now let's see if I can find the right spacer. It looks like I forgot to name it the right file yesterday. If I remember, it was called part 3, but that is certainly not it. So I better do some corrections here real quick. I'll go to this part here, and I'll go Save As. And we'll call this Candy Dispenser Spacer. Now we'll go to our assembly and see if we can find that. So we'll go to Place, and that should be it right there. I'll open that. You need to have 2 of those. Now I want you to notice, since I was careful to always draw these from the center on the front plane, look how they line up nicely the way they should. This is going to make it much easier when we do our assembly. Let's go ahead and constrain these pieces, or let's constrain the spacers to the base before we put the slider in. That way our drawing area is not too busy. So I'm going to go to Constrain. Type is Mate. Solution will be Mate. And I'll click on the top surface of the base, and I'll click on the bottom surface of the spacer. Remember, Mate is like a magnet. Sticks them together. They're just not in the right place, but I'm going to go ahead and hit Apply. Let me close that a minute. Slide this over a bit, see how they kind of stick together. Now let's go back to Constrain and use a flush command to line them up the way they should. If I go long edge to long edge, I'm going to want my offset to be 1 inch. If it goes the wrong way, I'll need to make it negative. And it did, so clear that, make that -1. And apply. Now I'll do flush for the other edge, the perpendicular edge to the short edge of the spacer. This one should be 0.75. Goes the wrong way, so we'll make it -0.75. Okay. Let me close this box real quick and let's look at this. So that's where it needs to be. Looks good. Open constrain back up. We're on mate, and we'll do the same thing with the other spacer. So we'll do the top and the bottom. And we'll apply that. Close this and move this over out of the way. Grab my view cube, swing that around so I can see things better. Alright, back to constrain, and now we're going to switch to flush. Let's do long edge to long edge. Make sure you're picking the whole surface and not just a line. It wants to do a negative value on this one as well. And it's not always that it wants to do a negative value. We don't always know how the drawing is going to behave. We'll apply that. Now one thing you can do is these spacers are going to line up, so let's just flush them together. Then we don't have to put in any value for the offset. Looks pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and put our slider in. That way it's not going to be, that way the top's not going to be in the way. So I'm going to click on my place icon, and I'm going to look for my candy dispenser slider. It looks like the right one there. So we'll open that and set that in there. Make sure to hit escape. Now it looks like it's upside down, so let's right click on it and go to free rotate and just try and get it in the right configuration. That looks pretty close. We'll pull that over here a little bit. Okay, we're going to go to constrain, and we're going to use two make commands. So I'm going to do top of the base, and I'm going to do the whole bottom of the slider. Okay. Now I'm going to do one side of the slider, and I want to do the joining side of the spacer. Let's close this box and see what we have. I should be able to move that spacer back and forth. That's working great. So let's put the pegs in. So I'm going to go place, and I called those slider pegs. But I don't see them. I must have saved them in the wrong directory. I better go back and correct that. Let's go over here, save as, and we'll check and see where that went. Well, it looks like it's in the right place. So let's see if I can find those. I'll try typing in the file name. Okay, that worked for me. All right, I'm going to go to constrain. And I'll try an insert. I'm going to need to zoom in. These are pretty small. Center line to center line. Apply. Now I might need to flush those, so let's swing this around and look at the bottom. Certainly looks like it. So I'll go to constrain, and I'll switch to flush. And I need to look for a peg there. Will that work? No, cancel the operation. Doesn't want to do that. Let me try a different approach. Let's try the end of the peg and the top of the slider. And let's try an offset of 0.75. Well, apparently that insert command isn't working for me, so I better undo it. Let's go back to constrain. Let's just leave it on mate for now. And then let's switch to flush. And make our offset 0.75. Nope. Negative 0.75. What a negative morning it's been. Alright, looks good. Little house on the view cube, and let's do the same operation on the other end of the slider. Constrain, stay with mate, center line, and hold. Apply, switch to flush, end of the peg, top of the slider, offset, negative 0.75. Alright, little house on the view cube. Now all we need to do is put the top on and we'll have this assembly done. I'm going to switch back to mate. I'm going to go bottom, or top of the spacer, bottom of the top. Apply. Now I'm going to go to flush, and I'm going to do the edge of the base, the edge of the top, and I want to offset those 0.5 by ½ an inch. Everything is negative this morning. That is just goofy to me. But that's okay. Still works. We'll do the same thing at 90 degrees. I always try the positive first before I do the negative value. It looks like I have this project done. The base works on the slider just fine. The only thing we have left to do now is put it in a 2D drawing so we can print off a set of blueprints to make this object in the shop. Good luck!